What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with Tech Daily, and in this video, we are checking out the Reyee RG-E6 gaming router. This is an AX6000 dual-band Wi-Fi 6 capable router with an emphasis on gaming and streaming. So if you feel like maybe your home network hasn't quite been capable or reliable enough to handle that sort of stuff on a regular basis, this is the router for you. Now, if you aren't familiar with Reyee themselves, they've actually been in the networking space for more than 20 years. And just recently brought some of their products to the US market. The RG-E6 is one of their top tier at-home routers, and even though this was also my first time getting familiar with the brand, I've been thoroughly impressed with what they offer. They partnered with me on this video to help improve my home network since I recently moved into a bigger space with more rooms and more walls that sometimes cause some interference and don't always allow for the fastest speeds I'm supposed to be getting through my ISP. And one of the great things about the RG-E6 in particular, which I'll show you in just a minute, is that it's super versatile. You can set it up as a standalone router or create a mesh network, either with Reyee's other routers and Wi-Fi extenders via their one-click mesh feature, or with any other Wi-Fi products you already have. Before we get into all that, let me go ahead and unbox it, and I'll show you the setup process. It's actually really easy to get up and running with this thing. So inside the box, you're first going to see the installation guide. This has all the instructions you'll need to set up, but I'll walk you through it all in just a moment. Of course, here is the router itself. It's a pretty wild looking one for sure. And inside that last small box here, Reyee includes the power plug and an Ethernet cable, which you can use to connect to your cable modem during setup. So here is the RG-E6 router once again. And right off the bat, I have to say, this is a really cool looking router. There's 4 pairs of high performance antenna all around. These help provide that reliable connection. And if you need to, you can tilt them up and down to allow for a bit more space on a desk or shelf. It's actually a relatively sleek and compact router, which if you know anything about gaming routers especially, some of them are big and crazy with a dozen antenna and they barely fit anywhere. So the design and form factor on this one is perfect. There's an LED light up at the top, which you'll see illuminate when it's powered on, and a second smaller LED light, which will blink during setup and let you know if you're connected to the internet. Around back, you've got a wide array of ports that allow for incredibly fast wired speeds, and some additional features you can take advantage of as well. From left to right, there's a reset button, the DC power port, and then your main 2.5 gigabit per second WAN LAN port alongside 4 more LAN ports. Now, these ports actually support WAN and LAN aggregation, which means you can combine, say, 2 of the 1 gigabit per second LAN ports to create a 1.8 gigabit per second connection for things like a NAS storage device, a workstation, PCIe card, or other hardware that supports those faster speeds. And the far right port there labeled gaming is, like you might expect, a dedicated gaming port. So you can connect your gaming PC or your console to this port and it will auto prioritize the bandwidth to ensure you're getting a lag-free connection. And it works automatically, no additional setup or settings to change. The router also offers an auto bandwidth control option, and when enabled, it will ensure an uninterrupted gaming experience by suppressing high bandwidth applications that may cause congestion. Over Wi-Fi, the separate 4804 megabit per second ultra high speed gaming Wi-Fi provides super fast network speeds as well, with ultra low latency and less congestion. Inside, the router is powered by a 2.0 gigahertz quad-core 64-bit CPU, which helps it support up to 512 different devices connected to the router at the same time, which is just ridiculous. And the router, like I mentioned earlier, is dual-band capable, so you get both 2.4 gig and 5 gig networks to prioritize certain devices on the faster network connections. As far as the setup, it's honestly really straightforward to get the Reyee router up and running. You just need to connect up the power cable to the router and then connect the router to your cable modem via the included Ethernet cable. From here, once the router is powered up and blinking, you can either download and install the Reyee app for iOS or Android, or just head on over to the web browser and access the web-based backend utilizing the default IP address listed in the setup guide. You can tap Add a Router if you want to set it up as a new standalone Wi-Fi router, connect to the router from the Wi-Fi settings page on your smartphone or your computer, and then create a network name and secure password. You can also use the Reyee router as a satellite satellite, essentially connecting to your current Wi-Fi network and creating a mesh network to further broaden your existing setup. You'll find your existing Wi-Fi network from the list here, and the app will automatically pair the Reyee router to your existing network with basically just one tap. So the big question with the RG-E6, of course, is how do the speeds compare to my previous router? Well, there are a few different ways I'm going to measure this. My modem and router live in my living room, and comparatively, there's not a huge difference in speed between Wi-Fi routers here since we're not even 5 feet away from the setup. That's not much of a test, but within my 2,100 square foot condo, there's a lot of walls and important rooms, like my office for example, that are further away than I'd like to be from the router. And you can see here between my old router and the Reyee router that the speeds are drastically different. Even all the way in my bedroom, which is probably the furthest point away from the router, the speeds are still solid, and they don't fall off nearly as much as they did with the original Wi-Fi router I had. What I found most interesting about the RG-E6 is that while the default suggestion might usually be to just get a mesh Wi-Fi system, this router really does the job of 2 or 3 mesh points. And maybe most importantly, it's not crazy expensive, under $200. It's more of a simple and streamlined setup that maybe makes more sense versus sticking a bunch of Wi-Fi points all around your home. And given the inconvenient placement of my own network hardware, I'm pleasantly surprised with what the RG-E6 can offer me speed-wise throughout my entire space. The other thing I like about the RG-E6 router is that it checks all the boxes for being modern and up-to-date when it comes to the needs of today's connected devices. The dual-band Wi-Fi networks with the 2.4 gig and 5 gig options allows for faster devices to be prioritized and lesser devices to stay off the higher bandwidth connection. It's Wi-Fi 6 capable, which is basically the current generation or standard for maximum theoretical speeds based on your ISP. And there's honestly a lot more on the back end that you can do with this router that's well beyond my technical know-how. But if you are an advanced network junkie, Reyee offers comprehensive management through the app and web portal for you to take full advantage of. Even though Reyee is new to me, tons of other people seem to be enjoying this router. It has hundreds of 5-star ratings on Amazon. And Reyee now offers a wide variety of Wi-Fi and networking hardware for the US market that I'm more than happy to recommend, since this one, their RG-E6, is so good. If you're interested in learning more or want to pick one up for yourself, I'll leave a link down below in the video description along with a discount code for 20% off, which actually will work on any product from Reyee's online store. That way, you can get some super fast Wi-Fi speeds and wide network coverage that you deserve too. So there you go, that's Reyee's RG-E6 gaming router. What do you guys think? Is this something you'd like to add to your own home? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow Tech Daily on Twitter and subscribe to the Tech Daily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.